Good morning, Brian.
Well, good morning, Mike.
How you doing?
I was texting somebody on how they can watch this.
Oh,
How can
good.
they watch this?
You should be able to. It's on the Morning Laugh Facebook page. I know that.
Okay, cool. So all of you watching right now know that.
Yeah.
What's up, Mike? How you been?
Pretty good.
Good.
Things are moving along.
Mm-hmm.
My life is chugging along.
Chugging?
Chugging.
A term you don't hear anymore.
No, you're right. I want to bring that back. Chugging.
Yeah. Hey, you need to chug that. Nobody says that anymore. No. All right.
So, not much going on in the news. I mean, politically a lot, but I don't really want to talk about that stuff.
No. You know what though? I remembered this morning that when I was in grade school, I was voted in for vice president of student council, and some things happened, and I ended up being the president. And I will tell you from experience, you don't have the experience to be president. You don't. It's a vice president. It's a popularity race. So,
and this is coming from a politician, people.
Yeah, this is coming from somebody who's been there.
Yeah.
And if I could, Mike, if I could just say that these are impressive, hard, non-impressive times. I think I covered it.
I think I told you this, but I started watching Taxi.
Yes.
I'm on season
the TV
2.
series, not the popular movie with Robert De Niro.
No, right. Not Taxi Driver.
Not Taxi Driver, and not Taxi with Jimmy Fallon and Queen Latifah, but the actual TV series Taxi.
Was there a movie with Jimmy? Queen Latifah was another one of those people that they just she was in everything all the time for like a couple years.
There's nothing wrong with that.
It just was too much.
She's a queen. She's a queen. She's royalty. She can do whatever she wants. It's like Don King. He did whatever he wanted.
That's true.
I don't think you understand how American royalty works, Mike. Again, speaking as a politician, I think I can freely say this. So
I think maybe that's why the Jesters have never taken off big, because they lowered their standard to just Jester. Should have been the Kings of Comedy or something.
There you go. I don't know.
Taxi's great. Jim, Reverend Jim, was in an early episode of it, just as a minister, marrying Laka.
Reverend Jim. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was marrying Laka and some other woman. Anyway, then he wasn't in for a long time, but then he came back.
Yeah,
and he is by far my favorite character.
So he was so popular, like that. That's why they brought him back. That character is just unlike any other character we've seen on TV.
That character is his cadence and his delivery and the way he talks is not too far off of Doc from Back to the Future.
Oh, I beg to differ.
I mean, there's differences, but it's that I've seen him in interviews where his voice doesn't sound that hoarse and gravelly. You know
what it is? I'll tell you the secret to it. It's somebody who would love that's. I feel like you're setting me up for an impression, but anyways, there's two Christopher Lloyds. So there's the low Christopher Lloyd. There's the high Christopher Lloyd. So the low is the Jim, which is the grovelly Alex. What are you doing? And then the high pitch Marty. Where are we going? See, that's the difference. That's faster in cadence and higher, and the other one's lower.
That is such a subtle difference between. I agree with you. There is the difference, but it's a very subtle difference. So.
Yeah. And then in the middle is Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, with
I forgot
Captain Kirk, Klingons, and then get off my planet. I'm getting sick of you. Welcome to Know Your Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
I built a time machine out of a taxi. Walkie-talkie. Everyone wants that episode.
I will say I was telling you this too. There's a character in the first season that I don't think he came back for the second season, maybe, but his name was John. He was like the new guy. So the show kind of pivots around the new guy a lot of times when there's a new series. And that was John on this one.
He was married too, though, right? He's married or had a girlfriend.
He got married during the first season.
Yeah, because that was a big deal, him getting married, and I think we actually saw part of his home life too. Which
they're trying to make him, but he was gone after the first season.
Yeah. And then we never saw him again.
Never saw him. He was like Richie's brother.
Taxi, right? ABC. If they didn't like your character, you were done. You were done forever.
Hey Brian, I got a game I want to play with you real quick. Is that cool?
Sure.
This is called Guess the Guest.
Guess the guest with a T on there. Got it. Okay.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here's the trivia that you need to understand. Okay, first of all, this guest holds a scoring record at their high school in basketball with 41 points.
Huh. Okay.
They've written 4 books.
Written 4 books. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They never work on Halloween, according to what they claim, which I think is probably true. I get the feeling this guest is very family oriented, so I'm thinking this person probably likes to enjoy celebrating that
Halloween with family.
Maybe, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay, this may give it away a little bit. They're in a claymation Christmas movie coming out this December. Does that help you?
Of my claymation friends, let me think about that.
So you get 3 guesses real quick. Who do you think it is?
I think out of the gate, I'm going to guess basketball makes me think height. So tall people that I know.
One of the tallest people I've ever seen in my life.
Wait, so the basketball, 41 points. What was the second one? How many books? 4 books?
4 books.
And then claymation movie.
I'll give you one last hint. The name of his book series is The Adventures of Average Boy.
Aha, so it's a he.
Yeah.
It's a he. That changed
One
things.
guess.
Gordon Douglas?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show our friend, the very tall Bob Smiley.
The very tall Bob Smiley.
What in the world? What is going on? Come on, Brian. Sorry. It's hard to find a chair that actually allows me to go on the frame because I'm so tall.
So Bob would have been my third guess.
First of all,
My third guess would have been Bob Smiley.
no, it's too late. It's too late. Okay, first of all, who's more cartoon character than me to be in a claymation movie? Second of all, my average books, they're for ages 7 to 14. That's your reading level.
My demographic.
I do not know
My demographic right there.
that. It's totally your reading level. And so I thought, as soon as he said average boy, he would know. You're no fan. You're no fan.
Gosh. I'm no fanboy. All right. So with that,
I held that clue to the end because I thought for sure when you heard Average Boy, you're clearly the famous author. The
Average Boy opened
Bob
up the
Smiley.
field for the people we know. Come on. So
Gordon Douglas. What was your next guess? Ichabod Crane. I love Gordon, but good night.
Wow, that was Bob. I have to ask right out of the gate. How's your eye?
It is actually way better. I still have a little floating. It's blood. I don't want to be gross on here, but I still have a little bit of floating blood around. I equate it like I have my own little lava lamp going on. So like my right eye is still like celebrating the 60s. But every single day it's getting more and more clear. And so the doctors are saying that it'll go away in probably 2 weeks to maybe 3 months. But okay. I'm back to I can exercise, I can lift stuff, I can do everything that, I wasn't allowed to do for a month.
I'm a fan of you, Bob, as a person, not whatever that is, of you, person. See,
I like how you dig yourself out by saying not of your career or whatever you call that thing.
Yeah.
Bob Smiley, the man. See, so well, that's good. I'm glad to hear because that's a scary thing.
Yeah, it was crazy, and so it happened in California. I did a show in Sacramento, woke up the next morning, couldn't see out of my right eye. So I did what most comics do. I did 3 more shows before I actually consulted my optometrist. And I was actually leaving. I was staying at a friend of mine's house, Riley Armstrong. And as I was leaving, because I'd made an appointment when I flew back home, but I didn't know what was going on. And I was walking out the door when he called me and said, thankfully, my wife actually called the optometrist Sunday night and left a frantic message of like, he's about to fly home. I think something's really wrong. And so then from that, he figured out that it was a torn retina and that I shouldn't get on a plane because, you know, the eye will explode and, you know, you're not going to get bumped to first class looking like that.
No.
So he actually stopped me and he was like, do not get on a plane. We're going to get you in. And they found a doctor in Folsom, California that could actually do the operation right away. And so it was a torn retina just on the side of my eye, but it was across the nerves. They put the drops in and to numb it before the laser surgery. And so he left to go look at the images and the assistant was saying, be glad the drops are working because otherwise they have to do a needle. And I was like, oh, cool. Then he walked in and he goes, I'm going to go ahead and give you a shot. And I was like, no. She just told me that the drops and he was like, yeah, but it's right over the nerves. So it's going to hurt. So they went ahead and gave me like an extra numbing shot. And then he started with the laser. And honestly, it didn't hurt at all. It was just this bright light flashing. And he even said, I'm sorry about the, bright light. And, it didn't hurt. So I was making jokes. I was like, hey, I'm used to the paparazzis. And, I said, and he said, oh, are you Gordon Douglas? It kind of hurt my feelings. But
common mistake.
Yeah. But then he hit the nerve part and it felt like somebody punching through my eye into the back of my skull. And so he just kept going. And about 10 minutes into it, he stopped and he goes, I'm going to give you a 5-minute break. And I was like, no, let's just get this done. And he goes, yeah, but he goes, you've got sweat dripping off your elbows. So I feel like you're about to pass out. And I didn't even realize it, but all of a sudden I kind of took stock and I was like, oh, I have sweat drip. But the worst part of the whole thing was then he gave me 5 minutes to sit there. You know how you're in a green room and about to go out and perform in front of a big, well, you guys probably don't, but I love that we're friends so I can do stuff like that. But you know how you're sitting in the green room and you're a little nervous and stuff. Well, that was me. I was sitting there 5 minutes knowing what was coming. And I was like, oh, come on. But yeah, they got it like stitched up and it's getting back to normal.
That's good. So will it be back to normal? I mean, will it be stronger? I mean, sometimes with surgeries, things get stronger, but I mean.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I've always been 20, I'm going to get these numbers wrong, but I've always been like 20/45 or 20/50 in my right eye. And which I'm a hunter and that's my shooting eye. So that's always been that. After I got back home and it had time to heal and stuff, they had me do the eye test, even though it was blocked mostly, completely blocked. I could see enough through all the little floating blood things to see the eye chart. And so I got all the letters right. And so they said, you have 20/20 in your right eye now. So it looks like it actually improved my eye if I can get all the stuff out of it.
See, a little torture is good.
Yeah, little torture never hurt anybody. That can't be a saying.
No, but it should be a shirt.
It should be a shirt.
So for anybody watching, look out for this coming year. Bob is starting his Blood, Sweat, and Tears tour.
Yeah. It definitely was just out of the blue. And they upgraded me to a Ford Mustang for this California run because I was out there for 5 days. Ended up being 7, but because I couldn't see out of my right eye for the next 3 shows that I drove to, I was in the slow lane driving 10 miles under the speed limit and people would pull up and like look in like, why even have a Mustang? And I would just turn and look at them. And I had this big eye patch over my eye and they'd just be like, oh, okay.
Patches over here. Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is different. Just one eye and everything.
Yeah.
You take our other eye for granted a lot, I think.
Here's the thing. You don't realize how much you use your eyes until they're gone, like,
yeah.
And depth perception and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. My sister,
I have a lot more hearing loss in one ear than the other. And I didn't know this for years until one night I was laying in bed and I rolled over to the other side and I realized, wow, what's that clicking? The ceiling fan was clicking and stuff. But if I rolled to the left side, I couldn't hear it at all. And I wait a second, what's going on here?
Mike, can you hear us better now?
Oh, yeah, thanks. That helps.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
I can hear you. I can't hear Bob now.
Okay. Well, This isn't making it better.
And that's all I have to say about that.
That's a good point, Bob.
Thank you. Yeah, I like to share my testimony, about 10 minutes in.
So what else is new with you, Bob? I haven't talked to you for quite a while. We've texted a few times, but I wasn't able to make it out this year to CCA and see you and all that. But what else is going on in your life?
Dude, you were missed.
Thanks.
Greatly. You're a big part of the CCA and our family. So I've got a new book. I write this series called The Adventures of Average Boy, Brian, through Focus on the Family. And
it's a book, Brian. It's paper. And
yeah.
I'll explain it later.
A book is like an iPad, only thicker. Yeah.
This is a new thing. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, the fourth book in the series, Average Boys Above Average Summer, is actually coming out September 17th. And the third one, which was Average Boys Above Average Year, actually sold out on Amazon the first month that it was out. So we're pretty excited. One, that kids are still reading. Like, who knew kids still read books? But it seems to be like the kids love the humor and stuff in it, but there's a lot of stuff like the last book, he dealt with some bullies because he went to a new school. And so there's a lot of good kind of teaching moments wrapped up into this just funny year that this character has. And so parents like it because it's funny, kids are reading it, but they're also kind of getting some good, hopefully moral lessons and, biblical teaching stuff. So yeah, I'm super excited about this one coming out since the last one did so well, just to see how it does. And I'm doing an Average Boy podcast with Focus on the Family for families to listen to with their kids and stuff. So I'm really trying to, like you said earlier, Mike, I really am very family oriented. And so any tool that I can give to a parent that helps them, because the world is competing for their children. And so anything that I can give them to, help that process and those children's journeys, I get really excited about. So that book coming out September 17th, and just doing shows.
Where can people get the book at?
What's that?
Where can people find the book?
They can get it at my website, bobsmiley.com. It's on Amazon. Focus on the Family has it. Brian has it there already. I guess bought a pre-release.
I'm holding it up. Can you see it? Okay.
Yeah, that was great, man.
Cool. So people go and get that book. I think that's great. I'm going to get it to read with my grandkids.
Bob, is that based in reality of your life or scenarios?
Yeah, it actually started because years ago, and this is going to be a history lesson to any of your young listeners. There was a thing called a CD, little flat disc-like thing, and it came out. Focus on the Family got it, and so they asked me. They listened to it, and they were like, "This is good," and the humor actually translates for kids because I was doing tons of youth groups at the time and stuff. So my material really was geared toward that, and they asked me to write an article about going back to school. And so I wrote this one column. It's supposed to be just a humor column about a kid going back to school. So I wrote a true story about me getting a horrible haircut going back to school. But I thought of a cell phone joke, and I really wanted to put the cell phone joke in this article. So it couldn't be me because, I missed the cell phone era by, just barely, like 17 years. And so I just created this character, and I just called him Average Boy because he was a kid trying to do good things for God, but he was average at everything. And it was just supposed to be one article. And so I just did it, made it Average Boy so that I could put the cell phone joke in. And then kids started writing in saying, "Hey, can that Average Boy write more like columns?" And so it turned into a column, and then it turned into, books. We did 2 devotion books first. Where it was funny stories, but there was conflict, and then there was resolution, and then there was scripture at the end of each chapter to back up why Average Boy picked that solution and stuff. And we did those devotion books, and they did really well. And so then we decided to do more of a Diary of a Wimpy Kid, like just a fictional comedy book. And so that's how it got started. But it got started based on those first 2 books were all stories that happened to me when I was a kid. except for the very last chapter of the first book. I'd never written a book before, and I wrote it pretty quickly because I was just writing about my life. And then I got to the last chapter and I just stopped. And I was like, I don't know how to end this book. And I'd written it so quickly and so easily to begin with that it really kind of threw me. And so I was upstairs in my office and I looked out the window and it was pouring rain and I saw my kids playing in the ditch. And all of a sudden I had the ending to my book. And so some of the stories are from my own life, but a lot, especially lately, because I've been writing it over 25 years now. A lot of the stories are from my kids too, as well.
Nice.
That's cool.
That's great.
Yeah.
And that'll be fun to take a look at it.
Will we ever get a book series that's about average man?
No, but a lot of people want average girl. And so my wife, Sarah, is like ready to start her own podcast as average girl and
Nice.
all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe if I ever, truly become an adult, maybe I'll start writing adult like stuff.
I think that's really cool, especially if there's average girl, average boy, that combo. It seems like it's perfect. And Sarah's such a much better person than you are.
This is not her podcast interview. So, I mean, can we just stay on me?
Sorry.
You guys are comedians. You have egos. Come on.
When is Gordon Douglas coming on?
I love it.
My guess was wrong.
He kills on stage. I told him this because I'd only seen him, he's been our chaplain for CCA forever. And so I just knew him as this good, godly, spiritual man. So I had not seen him do stand-up for years. And then all of a sudden he got up and did, 20-minute bit and just killed it.
Yeah.
I love Gordon. He's no average boy, but
no, he's great.
Yeah. Nice.
Again, let's get back to Bob Smiley.
Finally.
Focus, everyone.
So, Bob, we do a thing here we call "What You Watching."
Ooh.
And so we just want to know what is something you've binge watching lately, or some just media you're consuming lately that you haven't in the past. Anything like that, something that's piqued your interest.
Yeah. So my wife and I, we were out in California and we went to the Laugh Stop, which I'd never been to the historic Laugh Stop. And so it was just crazy cool. And Patton Oswalt was there that night. And so we watched him, and he's got a brand new show out called the 1% Club, and it's a game show.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. So my wife and I are super into that because they ask questions and they get harder to where they've asked questions to, 4,000 people, and only 1% gets that final question. And so we love to sit there and just see how smart we are. And
I like that game because you're right. So the way it works basically is the first question, 90% of the people get it right. So that's the easiest question. Then it goes down to, okay, this is 80%, 70 or whatever. Can't remember the spacing of it, but it's so fun because you get, and I think they have 100 people as contestants. So if you get it wrong, you're eliminated. So it narrows it down to just the final contestants. But it's so funny how many people get the first one wrong. It's like
we were watching last night actually, and the first question was which, and they're usually riddles or you got to figure out some pattern or something. So it's really good for our brains. But it was which one is not playing the instrument right, and it showed a guy with a violin playing a violin, and then it showed I think a guy with a flute playing the flute. And then it showed a guy with a trumpet, but he had the trumpet backwards and just the big mouth part just covering his face. And somebody got it wrong out of the 100, one person. And I was like, dude, that lady felt so awkward.
The thing is, I think people, they look at that and they think, okay, this is a trick question.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's, the guy with the flute, his fingers are in the wrong position, but the guy with the trumpet, that is a way you can play the trumpet somehow or something. But you're right. It's clearly obvious, but it's pretty funny. And it gets hard. Those last questions can be, it's like, man, I pause it.
If you miss the first question, you should be asked to leave the planet.
Well, that's the best part. They have to sit there for the rest of the game and just be like,
crossed, arms folded.
I think they give them some crayons, to keep them busy, but it's
there you go.
not good. But yeah, we're binge watching that, and then we're also going back and because I've never seen the series, but we just started Frasier.
Oh yeah.
The original one.
Yeah, the original one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that holds up so well. I've watched that in the past. I watched it originally when it was out, but I've gone back and rewatched lots of that because it's really funny. It's
The writing's great, but the cast is tight. It's great.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I told her after the first episode. I was like, okay, whoever picked these characters nailed it because I mean, it's the perfect. You got the side characters that come in and add to the composition. Like it looks like it's perfectly put together.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of shows that really hold up well like that. You go back and look in old, especially 80s, 70s or 80s stuff, even 90s stuff, and you just think, man, this was so dumb. How did we watch this? But Frasier's one of the.
Mike, you've been watching. Speaking of that great series, you've been binge watching My Mother the Car, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Your taste levels are across the board. I don't know.
I was telling Brian earlier, Bob, I had been watching Taxi. I don't know why I started watching that, but it's good. It's the acting is the main characters. Their acting is great. The tertiary characters that kind of come in and out they're just beyond horrible.
Yeah,
It's just really bad. But it's a little fun to watch, just nostalgia wise. Brian, what have you been watching? We didn't talk about anything here.
Don't ask me. It's really weird. I've been going through a different phase this year where I started off watching a lot of documentaries, and now I haven't been watching much TV at all. But I am hooked right now on Chimp Crazy on HBO Max and Max.
On what?
Chimp Crazy on HBO.
Oh, Chimp Crazy. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a documentary, right?
Yeah. It's a 4-part documentary. 3 are out. Next week will be the big finale. But it's got everything you want. It's got drama.
It's Tiger King in the monkey world.
It's
right?
The people that produced Tiger King are now looking at the monkey world, and the monkey world's exactly what you'd think it'd be. There's some crazy people, but it's also grotesque because chimpanzee attacks are horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah.
I guess
Like,
the takeaway from all this is Brian can afford HBO.
I pay for one thing in my life, and that's it.
Yeah. I remember you always see it, not always, but every few years you see a headline of some monkey attacks somebody, but yeah, rips their face off or something. It's some horrific. It's not like a possum attack where it's just like, oh, that I tripped on a possum. These things are.
That's what that show Possum Owners. One season, one and done.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
But
the deadliest possum that never lasted.
No, nobody cares. Squirrel Ranch.
So I read in the news this morning, there's a guy in Georgia who has an emotional support alligator. That there is.
Look how happy the alligator is.
Yeah.
Well, you got to eat. Aren't you always happy before you eat?
But this is a real thing, and it's lost. They lost it in a swamp in Georgia, and they've been trying to recruit people to help find this. And it just cracks me up. An emotional support alligator. I think that phrase emotional support has evolved or devolved over the years. It used to be people with severe mental, dependencies needed like a pet or something, and it helped them. But I think now people just think any pet is an emotional support animal.
Yeah.
We've had a guy come to the club with a emotional support snake around his neck. And we had to tactfully ask him, you can't do this anymore. People are getting freaked out. I'm not a snake person, so even I'm like, please go somewhere else.
Yeah, there was about a month where you could bring any emotional support animal on a plane because it was everybody didn't know what with every the whole woke thing. Nobody wants to offend anybody. Nobody wants to say no, this is ridiculous or any of that kind of stuff. And so I remember a month flying, emotional support peacock. I'm like, come on, it's a little ridiculous.
Walking down the thing.
Yeah. Sorry, excuse me. Pardon me.
He's got to go again.
He's very excited.
Does it fit in the little carry-on size box at the gate?
Boom, boom. Excuse me. This gentleman's goat is eating my seat.
Yeah. Do you have any earthworms?
Boom, boom.
Yeah,
the woman.
I always think I don't have an allergy problem, but I think you can't bring like a cat on. People are allergic to cats or dogs or whatever. It doesn't make sense.
We haven't had peanuts on a plane
I was
for
gonna say,
15 years,
Yeah.
but now you can bring a boa constrictor on.
Yeah. If they're gonna get rid of ashtrays,
oh, I don't smoke. It's my snake.
Yeah. No, I did not see that news this morning, Mike, because I get up and read the Bible. But you found that in the news this morning?
it was actually in my Bible. It was stuck in the cover.
You need a different translation.
He's got Ripley's
it was-
Believe It or Not Bible.
It was prophesied that this would happen, and here we are. The other thing I saw.
What fucking chapter is that in? Man,
The other thing I saw at
oh,
I do my Bible reading at 5:30. This was at 6. I saw this that Joy Chestnut and what's the other guy's name? Kobayashi or something. These guys.
Oh, Kobayashi.
Yeah, Kobayashi.
What's his name? Yeah.
They had a standoff eating contest finally, like the World Series of eating.
Finally.
Finally, it was a big deal. This was broadcast on ESPN, I think.
Because Bob and I talked about that a lot at PCA.
It was a big deal. Yeah. Okay, you're gonna just keep pulling up stuff. You got your inside stuff from the CCA this year. Fine.
It was the best one, didn't you think?
Great. Oh man, the water slide, that was great.
Golly.
Water slide baptisms, Mike. It was great.
Yeah.
People were very kind to me and said, "Oh, you were missed. I wish you could have been there. This was the best one by far." I'm thinking, all right, I get it. Fine.
I texted you day one.
You did.
I very rarely get sentimental, but I was like, "Hey, you really are missed." And you wrote back. I'll never forget what you wrote back. New phone, who dis?
I did.
So,
Well, I was touched. I didn't know who
Right
it was.
there,
but I
man.
was touched.
okay, Sarah took my phone for a little bit.
So the truth comes out. Right? So Bob, tell us a little bit more about what you have coming up as far as events or things that you're doing, or wait, I want to know more about the claymation thing.
Yeah, so this guy reached out to me, and he's got a claymation Christmas movie about two snowmen who are kind of full of themselves, and they get to where, just totally, yeah, and there's so many great jokes in this movie, but it really is kind of, it deals with, it's kind of like a Wizard of Oz because they get kicked out of their town, they're put on the naughty list. And so they have to figure out how to get off the naughty list. And they decide the best way to do it is to go steal the naughty list from Santa. So there is no naughty list. Then they pick up people along the way, very Wizard of Oz style. So Leslie Robb plays a depressed yak.
How was Leslie Robb play depressed anything?
This is the greatest sentence in history.
Yes,
Robb plays a depressed yak.
She nailed it too. She nailed it because it really is. She doesn't really realize she's depressed. So the way she delivers her lines, it's still kind of joyful, but the thing she's saying is not. So it's great. Christian McCartney plays like a high-strung. What does he play? Like ferret. It's not typecasting at all. But he's in it. Robert G. Lee kind of plays the not to give away the ending, but the kind of the wisdom character that comes in and is like, like kind of delivers the message part of it and stuff. It's really heartfelt.
He plays the guy with the alligator.
He plays the guy with the alligator. He comes
directly from the Bible, right?
Okay. An emotional support ferret.
Yeah. So that comes out in December. They're still looking at what platform they want it to come out in, but pretty excited about that. I'm filming another dry bar special at the end of this month. So trying to get my set down and decide what bits I want on there and stuff. But so should have a new. So it's kind of crazy because I've only done stand-up all my life. And now this end of the year, I've got a book, a movie, and a comedy special coming out.
That's great.
In the next 4 months.
I'm all about diversifying the comedy.
When you're doing the animation stuff, like the claymation, in this case, did he make the movie and you're voicing over, or do they take your voices and...
Great question. Great question. You're supposed to get the voices first, but because they wanted to get it out in December, they went ahead and started. So they had half the movie done before they signed me on as one of the main 2 snowmen. So I had to sit in the studio, and not only did I have to deliver my lines believable as Lowell the snowman, but I had to match the claymation mouth movement of how they already shot it. And then the rest, the other half of the movie, I was able to just do my lines, and I could throw in some ad libs and, kind of punch it up a little bit and stuff like that. So, but because of time, they already had done half the movie. So hopefully this is going to go really well. And so we're going to start looking at doing one every year. So then from now on, it'll be much easier because then I can just go in the studio and just do the voice work.
Mike, I don't know if you know this, and Bob knows that when you do claymation, it's frame by frame. So you have to go like, hey, we're free, ba, D, where are, it takes a lot. It's really time intensive is what I'm saying.
I like how they do the audio frame by frame. That was
yeah. You have to, if you're going to match it, you got to match it.
You got to match it. You're right.
That's hard acting too. So congrats.
Did you see any of the studio or any of the physical stuff, or you just, Bob, or did you just, have you seen, obviously you've seen pieces of the film because you were matching to it. Did you get to see any behind the scenes of them making it? Or, because that to me is fascinating. I think every kid, or at least in our generation, every kid is fascinated by claymation because there was great old claymation monster movies and stuff, but also it was something you could actually do on your own if you had any kind of video camera.
Well, I grew up watching this show called Davy and Goliath.
Yeah, me too.
And so one of my bucket lists, I have all these little bucket lists. Like I wanted to have a humor article printed in a magazine. I didn't think I would write a, 25-year column, but I just wanted one. So that happened. And I wanted to be in a claymation movie. And so when the guy contacted me, I read claymation and like, I didn't care what it said after that. I was like, I'm in. I'm totally in.
Yeah.
So
That's great.
Yeah. So I'm doing that. And then I also have a podcast in 6 minutes that I have to do. I know it's so unprofessional to do, but I'm looking at the time and I'm like, I really got to get.
We will let you go. And you told me that ahead of time that you had to get off early, but we appreciate you coming on. Thanks for doing that. And were you surprised, Brian? Did you have any?
I was very surprised.
And a little disappointed. Let's be honest. We're Christian.
Not at all.
I surprised him with Rick Roberts a few weeks ago.
To be honest, there was 3 guesses in my head. You were actually number 1. Robert Geely was number 2.
And you went with Gordon Douglas.
I went with Gordon Douglas because I thought, well, that's a real surprise. So we'll see.
Oh my gosh.
Show's not over yet. Maybe Gordon pops on. I don't know.
It's not over. We'll talk again soon, Bob. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate
best of luck, Bob. We'll be praying for you in the eye.
Thank you. Yeah, it's healing. It's healing really well.
Right.
And Brian, I will see you at the next CCA.
You will. Yes, you will.
It'll be so fun.
Everybody go to bobsmiley.com, check out what he's doing, and look him up online, YouTube, all that stuff. He's everywhere. If you look up Bob, actually, if you look up Smiley, Bob, you'll probably find him also.
Ooh, I'm going to try that.
Yeah. All right.
All right. We'll see you guys.
Right, safe travels, Bob. We'll see you on the road. If you're just joining us, that was Bob Smiley. Cool. Good surprise, Mike.
All right. Your turn next time. We'll have to guess the next one.
Yeah, but Bob Hope's dead. Who am I going to get?
Yeah. And Guy Smiley's not around either.
Guy Smiley. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point this show has a puppet as a guest.
COVID Carl. He could always show up.
COVID Carl could go. I actually was telling a story about COVID Carl the other day to somebody. I said, Mike at one point actually lost it and bought a puppet. So
I did. I was telling that story recently too, and somebody was over at our house, and I was explaining that, and my grandkids were there, and I said, "Yeah, I did a puppet thing. COVID Carl. He had a mask on. You couldn't see either of our mouths move." and my granddaughter ran down the hall to where she's seen it sitting in the hallway in the storage closet, and she pulled it out and brought it out. I don't remember who we were talking to, but. Yeah, maybe we'll bring COVID Carl on the show one time. We had him on Morning Laugh in the past, I think.
We have.
Okay.
I think he popped by. He stopped by for a second.
Yeah, he's just in and out. He also had another podcast to get to, so
Yeah, there's no way. I think it is the same one Bob's doing. COVID Carl's doing very well.
yeah.
Not like when he hit his peak during COVID, but
No.
not at all.
No.
Pleasant surprise. That was good. I always enjoy seeing Bob, and I've only got the opportunity to get to know him in the last 2 years. So
Yeah, he's a great guy. You know, it's funny because when you first meet Bob, you think, "What a jerk." No, you don't. He's a great guy. The more I get to know him, the more I like him. He's fun to. He's just one of those good friends that you like to tease each other and
Yeah.
have fun that way.
it's a lot of that.
Yeah, yeah, a lot. Yeah. I would say probably 80% of it is.
That's
living
why
in
I wasn't really ready for Bob. Like, oh no.
Where's it coming from?
That's why when you said the person had written 4 books, I'm like, well, Bob can't read or write, can he? I was confused.
I think that's about it. Oh, guys, don't forget, get this. And what else do we have? Brian, you have,
Get this.
get this.
Get it
Secret
now.
Asian Man.
Available on Spotify and wherever you
on
listen.
Spotify. That's Brian's comedy album.
Mm-hmm.
And what else is going on, Brian, that you want everybody to know about, or anybody?
I've got classes starting, which they're full, so you can't join anyway. And you'd have to be in Arizona. Let's see. I'm working on my comedy special. I have settled on a name though, but but I'm working on the spelling of it.
So you don't give it away yet.
I won't give it. There's some legalese going on there that I have to deal with. And then
Brian's brains.
It's Brian's brains, and I can't figure out how to spell each one. Keep messing up. Then I'm working on. So I got my comedy special. I'm working on. Hopefully, I have that out within a couple months. And then I am in the midst of writing a book at the same time because I just don't apparently have enough to do in my life. So
Yeah.
So and then what else is coming up? I do have some shows. Nothing really big. And then I just got a veteran show.
You got a veteran show?
Yeah, we'll talk afterwards, Mike. That's just breaking news. And then funniest person in the universe is coming up for Stir Crazy, so I'll be very busy working those
big
shows.
comedy contest. Yeah,
It's a big comedy contest. I'm not in that contest. I cannot be in that contest because I work at the club, but I will be there running the times so that comics can get mad at me and shoot me dirty looks from the stage. Like that wasn't 5 minutes. Yeah, it was. I know how to keep time.
How many people submit for that? Do you know?
Roughly, we take 90, and there are
90 are accepted in.
90 are accepted in, and it's random how that's selected. But I believe we're close to 140 submissions for this year.
Oh, wow. Okay, so there's a lot of disappointed people. That's going to be.
Mike, there's $1,001 on the line. It's no joke, and the trophy itself is just the greatest of any trophy I've seen for a comedy contest.
Yeah.
And at some point, we'll share it on the podcast. But other than that, yeah.
You can find out more information about that and Brian's classes at stircrazycomedy.com.
What about, if I could for a moment, what about you, Mike?
Oh, over here. That
took a lot of thought to go. Don't look this way because that's what on my monitor. I got to go opposite. So that
right. Well, Brian, I have a few shows coming. Actually, I have most of September free as far as comedy goes. I have not a lot going on there. Very busy with other stuff, other projects, but nothing to really announce right now.
You do have a giant project you are working on. We won't say what it is, but you are working on a very big project. It is comedy related.
It is comedy related, and
it could change the world.
It could change the way comedy. It could change comedy forever.
It could. It will.
We've heard that before.
We have. I mean, well, if you have Facebook.
So and then as the holidays pick up, obviously getting much more busy with shows and things like that. But nothing huge. I will be out doing traveling. I think I'm going to Nashville in a month or month and a half.
Mm-hmm.
The Huckabee show. I was
going to say, you want to say what you're doing?
anyway, as far as the rest of it, you can go to MikeJamesComedy.com for my schedule, BrianKohatsu.com for Brian's schedule. Also go to StirCrazyComedyClub.com for more information on the classes Brian teaches and things like that, and just the general schedule. If you happen to be in the Phoenix area, that's where to go see comedy for sure.
By the way, it's officially according to Tom Sims, this is breaking news, 140 for the contest.
Oh,
submission,
okay.
140 submissions.
Okay, cool.
It's a lot.
Yeah. That's it.
All right.
That's it. Thanks for joining us, everybody. It was a lot of fun, and we will see you at a random future date. We don't know when.
See you randomly.